Wasn't as bad as we thought.
Now, we already know from Volusia County's EOC reports that this is not the only bit of damage throughout the city of DeLand. We're going to go back out and find you those images. Do not go out and look for
pushing back the branches and the leaves on those trees, even parts of the trees. The branches have been whipping and falling off of the trees because of the wind gusts that we're seeing here. The rain, it's going sideways. You can hear the wind whipping around and buzzing in that mic. Things here are just getting worse and worse as the day goes on. This is a time to shelter and stay indoors. Do not go outside. Take advantage of that curfew and do not go outside. Do not be out on the roads right now because it is not safe to do so. For now, reporting in Daytona Beach, Mike Springer, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Chris, we know that you and Jason will get out there when it is safe. This is one of the areas, Volusia County, still really getting pounded by that banding weather right now as I look at the eye wall, just basically just throwing the rain and high winds at Volusia County. We go back now to Rockledge. Channel 9's Christopher Heath saw several businesses damaged there, and here's his latest report.
Christopher Heath here in Rockledge. Here's some of the damage we're seeing. You can see that this fence came down overnight as well as the sign, and if you follow me over here, you'll see an overhang at this building also brought down. You can see two of the posts have already given way. It's only being held up right now by the other two, but it brought down overnight as a result of Hurricane Matthew. We'll continue to follow some of the damage here in this part of Brevard County. For now, reporting from Rockledge, Christopher Heath, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
And our Mert Price is live right now in Titusville with more of the situation there. Mert, what are you seeing?
Windy. Well, here we've been here. Yeah, you can say that again. It's definitely windy here. The rain, not so much this time. It's been going off and on where we get rain and then winds, but the wind has remained constant. You take a look behind me, you can see what the wind is doing to the trees and areas around us. There was a lamp over there under that tree. It got pushed over. Some of the branches were pushed down by the wind. We also got, we got something leaning. You can see the pole in the back there leaning. The wind has it rocking back and forth. We've also got some flooding out here as well. We've seen cars driving across the flooded roadway. With all this wind, though, I'm surprised we haven't had more damage. The damage that it happened here in our area is right across the street at the restaurant there, the IHOP restaurant, the roof, and part of the... You can just see the conditions here. They seem to be getting somewhat better, but the wind has remained constant the whole time. We're going to stay out here and continue to follow the conditions, and we'll bring you live reports. For now, reporting live in Brevard, Mert Price, Channel 9 Eyewitness News.
All right, Mert, I'm looking at Doppler 9, and I can still see that band right there in Titusville, right over where you are, and so you will see that rough weather for some time, yellow and red as it rolls through Titusville.
And an area that's usually calm and quiet. Nice to take a stroll by Lake Monroe as we've got some whitecaps there, and our Cuthbert Langley is there in Sanford, and we've seen some boats there, Cuthbert, that didn't fare so well there.
Yeah, Martha, it has been pretty rough since we've been out here for the last 30 minutes or so. Let me show you what the lake looks like right now. You can see choppy conditions here, those palm trees over there blowing in the wind. But if we, Chuck, can pan over here to the left, I want to show that boat there rocking in the water. I was talking to Channel 9's Lauren Seabrook, and she has seen that out there since she has been here as well. But you can just see how much that boat is getting rocked by those waves. We are trying to figure out if anyone is inside that boat, if they just anchored off out there. But also, let me show you something else, too, as we walk back over here. Look look at that palm tree knocked down by these gusty winds that you are seeing right here. So definitely a very soggy ground. As we were reporting last night, there was a lot of rain that fell in the Sanford area. So obviously very soggy conditions. Mix that with the high winds we are seeing out here. That's when you have these down trees. As we were driving into Sanford, we were actually staying in Longwood last night to hunker down. We saw a large oak tree down in a woman's yard. She said that fell around 9 this morning. We've seen some traffic lights out around the Sanford area as you're heading into town. So as these gusts continue to go, we are seeing a little bit of flickering of lights around here too. So we are actually working on putting that video into the system of that fallen tree. We're working on talking to that neighbor. We're going to have that much later, but you can see still pretty rough conditions out here in Lake Monroe here in the Sanford area as the storm continues to move on around this area. But we'll go ahead and send it back to you guys there.
Right, that is Cuthbert Langley. Better. Our microphones are now open. Good, we got that. Lots going on here today, and we can tell you that Tom Terry is here now.
He's here rolling up the sleeves, so we got something important to tell us,
the tie is loose. We did the whole thing.
I'm impressed it's still on with all of you guys.
Oh,
doing
yeah,
a great job.
What a great team. I think Brian, he's like on 35 hours here. Rusty's like
but no
60.
one's counting.
Let me show you the rainfall
How many
estimates.
hours?
He stopped counting at 36 or 38.
I didn't know you could count.
We're all here for one reason, to help give you the best information. And the rainfall is not over. Let me show you the rainfall estimate so far. This is just 24 hours, so this misses a little bit of the heavy rain we had yesterday. But as I walk over and kind of point out some of this stuff to you, look at the heavy rain that we did not get. That's off the coast there, and you can see the really intense rain that was off in the Atlantic. That's 14 inches. So thankfully that was not on shore. It's kind of been in that eastern eye wall. But we've had lots of 6 to 8 inch rainfall amounts. There's an ongoing flood warning for Flagler County and for Volusia County. We'll probably have some for Flagler County, 5, 6, 8. A lot of this, kind of the brighter the pink color, the higher the rainfall estimates over the last 24 hours. So 5 to 6 down through parts of Orange County, just on the north side of I-4. And this was that really heavy rain band that we started with earlier last night or this morning. The days are running together, but you can see lots of 2 to 3 inch rainfall amounts. Back here to the west, it's still coming down. Let's switch over to WEX3, and I'll show you some of the rainfall we have now with Live Doppler 9, which has been getting a workout here today over on WEX3. And here you see this is the center of Matthew that is still spinning off the coast of Daytona. And we are getting reports in, George, is that Flagler Beach? Flagler Beach.
That was Palm Coast.
Palm Coast. And
Palm Coast reports of storm surge right into a house.
Storm
into
surge,
a beach house.
Yeah, into a beach house. We talked about the surge prospects of 9 to 11 feet. That was with a Cat 4. Obviously, this is not a Cat 4. It's a 3. It's a little bit farther offshore. But we are getting storm surge inundation. And we're just now beginning to get some of the information coming in because, frankly, a lot of people have evacuated. So we'll have a better picture of the damage, and it's going to be extreme here. And estimated 75, 80 mile per hour winds in Flagler, over in Palm Coast. You'll probably top out at about 85, I would estimate, based on your distance from the center of the storm. Here's some more wind reports coming in. Palm Coast, trees uprooted at 11:22, so coming in just recently. And hurricane, that last little issue was right there. Hurricane force gusts 76 miles per hour over at Flagler Beach. So probably about mid-80s is what we'll see for wind gusts along the coast. We're going to do a little quick radar tour for you right now to show you who's getting hit the hardest and who's finally improving things a little bit. And we can see the heavy rainfall for Palm Coast. That is very strong wind inundation. It's kind of north wind right now along this eye wall, but we're getting these outer bands that are pushing the water on shore. High tide is now, so that's why we were so concerned about additional surge issues from Volusia County up north toward Flagler as the surge continues to move on through. We'll work our way down south toward Volusia County where the heavy rain continues and these outer bands are just kind of sliding on through. It's kind of appropriate, I guess, that we're near the speedway and these things are like whipping around like a race car at over 60 to 70 miles per hour. Hurricane force winds still hammering the coast over at Daytona Beach. If you're watching or listening to me and you evacuated, aren't you glad you did? Because you don't want to be over there in this mess. About another, I think by 5 or so tonight. So we got about another 4.5 hours, and we'll lift the bulk of the really tough winds away because this whole area is moving north at 12 miles an hour.
Tom, there are reports in Volusia, too, where they've sent in an armored-type vehicle to rescue someone, and so we're working on getting more confirmation on that.
One of our Daytona Beach radio partners that's been broadcasting us actually had part of the building collapse, and they actually had to move over to another part. So we're trying to get some more information on that from them. But we're going to have all kinds of stories like this as we get a little bit better weather to get in there. But here's New Smyrna Beach and Oak Hill, all the way back through DeLand, Deltona. Pockets of heavy rain. The flood warning continues for your area. Possibly another 2 to 3 additional inches of rain. You saw the estimates earlier, 6 to 8, so that will continue. Work our way back toward Lake County right now, where we just had another really heavy rain band that is just whipping on through, and it's really heavy rain here in the green, but this is good old-fashioned hurricane squall coming on by with winds of about 60 miles per hour. This is not hurricane force, but this is going to bring you, it's physically moving at about 60. So it just blows that wind right down toward the surface as well. This is shooting in, there we go. This is coming in right out of the terminal Doppler out just south of the airport. And we're seeing just above at about 1,000, 1,500 feet. The raindrops are moving at 60 to 70. And we translate about 80% of that to the ground. That's why I'm saying about 60 mile per hour wind gusts through northern parts of Lake County right now, where we still have the tropical storm warning that is in effect. Okay, back to the radar. Thank you, Rusty. Very heavy rain through the Mount Plymouth area. Back here to the west, Marion County, back in towards Sumter County. We're still not finished with the rain with you, although you're pretty much maxing out on the amount of wind that you're going to be getting here today. But this rain, these rain bands, it is nasty, nasty out there, and it's going to continue probably till 4 or 5 o'clock. We have to physically lift this whole rain shield to the north, and it's only crawling out about 12 miles an hour. The center of the storm offshore is actually bumping into a ridge of high pressure that will eventually spin it back around. But because of that, it's kind of taking its own sweet time in lifting on through. Down towards Sumter County, the Leesburg area, Mount Dora. If you have power, hallelujah. A lot of folks have lost power through the area. We have lots of trees down, and again, lots of heavy rain, and these squalls coming through at 50, 55 miles per hour, getting lots of very heavy amounts of rain. George, you got an update?
Yeah, we're just getting more and more reports of video coming in on Twitter. Storm surge is becoming a bigger and bigger problem. Palm Coast, even up into St. Augustine. We're going to look into this. We have a station up in Jacksonville. Wow. There's reports of storm surge on the streets in St. Augustine and some people trapped in houses. So we're going to look into some of that. But just, you know, we're watching that storm surge that we were talking about this yesterday, and it's becoming a problem, and it's still going to grow up there.
Because we're in high tide at this point. So more issues with that. Orange County right now, Ocoee, Lake Buena Vista. Thanks for hanging with us through all of this. Our great radio partner, 96.5 WDBO, with lots of coverage. Marina Jurka, who's basically lived in the radio booth here with this storm, has been giving great coverage there. Belle Isle, Meadowwoods, heavy rain bands still kind of proceeding through Orlando. Farther to the south, Russ, we're working toward Polk and into Osceola County because the outer rain bands are starting to weaken a little bit. Because the storm is lifting north, these outer rain bands will gradually lift north too. So you're just kind of getting clipped here in downtown Kissimmee, right along the riverfront or the lakefront. Then we get in towards St. Cloud, still getting kind of bands, but just south of here, it's just very sporadic. So this will gradually improve and lift north for Point Siena. Still breezy, but not nearly as bad as it was earlier. Brevard County, still very heavy rain band that's coming together here just north of Rockledge, and all of this energy is spiraling in, coming in from the west. So we're going to have some flooding issues, and again, the wind is blowing due offshore. So we had a surge onshore. Now we reverse direction. This is where we also had the highest wind gust of 107. I remember Francis was 124. I figured this storm, if it were a Cat 4 and closer, we would have easily broken 124. But Francis will still hold the record from 2004, thankfully. 107 along the coast. Rusty?
There's also significant rain in Seminole County right now. Really picking back up in the same areas that had got flooded even before midnight last night.
Yeah, and this is where we had 6 to 8 inches of rainfall last night. Very heavy rain moving back through Oviedo. Here's the 417. Just on the south side of Sanford, we've had our reporters over here, and depending on exactly where you are, you're either getting hammered or it's just kind of squally and wet. But very heavy rain through Longwood, Altamont Springs are on 419. And again, it's 12:30, and we probably have about till 3 o'clock maybe 4 before the rain finally starts to lift far enough north that it's just going to be sporadic. But
Tom, look how far this band goes. I mean, that's going to be the big problem here. If I bring this live and we're not looping this, I mean, this has got a lot of miles to travel right through the heart of Seminole County.
And it's lined up because the storm is moving so slow. This whole area will kind of pivot on through, but 48 miles, and it's moving at about 50 miles an hour.
Another hour, really heavy rain.
An hour, and this is probably 1.5 to 2 inch rain rate. So about another 2, maybe 3 inch rainfall amount in this area from Oviedo up to just north through Seminole County, Longwood, Lake Mary. If you're joining us there, hopefully you still have power. Hopefully you don't have any water intrusion because the rain is coming in literally sideways. But we also have these lakes right through here. Lake Jessup down here to the south. The winds are blowing off the lake and perhaps into some people's backyards. Lots of folks that live right here on the lake itself. And we can see some of the 12-hour rainfall reports. Go ahead and flip back to WEX 1 there, Russ.
Yeah, that's probably a better estimate, Tom.
Give a better estimate.
WEX 1, yeah.
And this is our live radar kind of keeping track of some of the heavier rainfall elements. And
sometimes when it rains like this, that radar gets polluted, if you will, with the data.
Go ahead and flip back if we can control. And let's go to WEX 1 real quick, and I'll show you the rainfall estimates that are so far in Seminole County. 6 inches right in through the Sanford area, 6 inches for Oviedo. So we're adding on top of that perhaps another 2 to 3 with that heavy rain band that continues to move on by. And just look how widespread the heavy rain is right here along the coastline. And here's Lake Mary, Sanford, and we even have some of the brighter the pink here near Osteen, Sanford, Lake Mary, Winter Springs, Lake Brantley. This is where we're getting some really high rainfall amounts. That'll be 6, 8, that may be 9 inches of rain right along the 417. There's the bridge that goes over Lake Jessup. So very heavy amounts of rain. Altamont Springs, anywhere where you see purple, that's where we're getting some of the, just right click on the pointer there, Brian. And you, did you mention the control over there?
He's trying to blame it on you, but it's me.
6 inches of rain. So very heavy rainfall through here. And again, we're going to keep adding on to the heavy rain that's in Seminole County.
There we go. This is where I wanted to get up to.
Yeah. So very heavy rain. That's what's already fallen. In just 24 hours, this misses some of the rain we had before the event actually started, so we'll continue to add rainfall to that. So we continue to monitor this, guys, the county-by-county impacts. Rusty, let's go through those next.
Sure.
And we'll do every county. Could I just update this a few minutes ago of kind of when the worst of this is going to start to move on out? Brian?
Tom, it was just something we were talking about internally here, slightly sidebar. The hoax pictures out there. Did you mention that?
Oh, yeah, I got one of a shark swimming down the highway that someone sent me, which I didn't think Jaws would be on I-4.
The Daytona Beach Speedway, that was from 2009.
Jaws is Jaws is off on Fridays. Yeah, there's a lot of hoax pictures out there. You're going to see those on social media. So again, just a heads up.
Yeah,
it's a different world now.
We have to be on high alert here for all of that. But again, we are going to get quite a bit of really bad stuff here from along the coast. But the good news for Brevard, the winds are now offshore, so that's taking that surge and moving it out through 2 p.m. That's when the winds will start to back off a little bit after that. Here's 1 o'clock. Our wind estimate still over 40, but certainly coming down. And the bands of rain will be ending soon, especially from south to north, as they're already starting to taper off. Okay, our next county, we'll have all these counties updated. This is the worst weather at the coast, but the entire northern half of Central Florida is still getting the heavy rainfall, 72 up to 90. We've had 88 so far. We could still have some gusts near 90. We took it down out of the 110 range because obviously there's no Cat 4, just a Category 3. Strongest now till about 5. So 12:30 here. This is the actual wind forecast at 4 p.m. Still around 30, but manageable certainly at that point. Storm surge is probably 5 to 6 feet right now. And George Waldenberger, we were talking about this earlier. We kind of put George as our storm surge expert on this, and I think we have certainly gotten 5 or 6 feet.
It was that initial forecast.
Maybe a little bit higher.
Yeah.
George, what's your impression so far of the storm surge?
Well, it's still growing first off, but our station in Jacksonville, is reporting that streets are underwater in St. Augustine.
Okay.
And that's just
north up here
of Flagler County. And then there's also reports of the storm surge just surging into houses in Palm Coast. We were talking about this yesterday.
That's not cool. Wow.
Yes, and yesterday there was the potential for 7 to 11 feet of storm surge. Again, just wind-driven water, straight up. and we're not even to high tide yet. What time is it, Tom, right now? 12:30? We should be almost there.
We're into high tide.
We're into high tide right now.
Yeah.
Okay, so this is when we're going to see the biggest problems with storm surge. So in addition to the wind here, remember we have Hurricane Matthew off the coast of Volusia and Flagler County. So if you're watching us from Orlando, realize that it's still very bad here. Daytona Beach, Ormond Beach, and then Palm Coast up into St. Augustine, it is very, very bad. So with this hurricane, we have to wait a few hours before things let up in Daytona Beach and Ormond Beach. And then in Flagler County, it's going to take a few more hours after that. So the wind, there it is, our storm surge map. And this shows the storm surge potential, the height of the water above the coastline here. So where you're seeing the oranges here, that's the highest forecast for potential storm surge, and that's where we're seeing some of the problems. Now, this perspective shows Cape Canaveral. We're going up basically Mosquito Lagoon, the national seashore there, up toward New Smyrna Beach. We'll go a little bit farther to the north. Daytona Beach, there's a lot of videos on social media posts